Let's go, bro.
Stacking duplicates of comics and collectibles can be one of the most powerful strategies when it comes to building and growing and scaling your collection on VeVe. So I think the best way to illustrate this is to give a personal example of my VeVe experience and why when I didn't have duplicates, it really hindered me a lot. So this is an especially good time to say that this is not financial advice and will never be financial advice, and let's get right into it. When it comes to collecting psychology, it can be really easy to want at least one of everything. You don't want to miss the boat. You don't want something to take off and become unattainable. And if certain things get airdrops or to complete certain sets, sometimes you'll just want one of everything. And if you stack up on duplicates, that will stop you from getting other things that you don't already have. And I know that that was my philosophy at the very beginning, especially because of the Master Collector program. If you watch my channel, I told this story a million times, but I was really prioritizing sets over blue chips because I thought the Master Collector program benefits would A, come sooner, and B, I thought they would really pay off. B, it's still yet to be seen. We're not sure how it's going to look or how much those will pay off, but I'm hoping with how much I've invested into sets that it will. So I've been in VeVe pretty early, since March of 2021. So a lot of things that I bought back then, even though they've come down a lot since then, I'm still up a lot, especially things like the first Batman set and that sort of thing. So you can probably imagine back in November, December, when prices were just going through the roof, how much I was up at that point. But here was my dilemma. I only had about one of everything, and when I wanted to sell, it made me incredibly nervous. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm the best trader or that I still couldn't have made good moves with my singles, because honestly, if I would have sold all of them back then, I could have rebought them and have 10 of each. But at the same time, it's so hard to time the market. It's so hard to know what's going to happen. Like, for example, there were a lot of outside forces that really drug the entire world economy down. And that's something that most of us can't predict or see coming. So at the same time, I could have sold them back then. And then if certain things didn't happen, they could have potentially kept going up and I would have missed out on it. I'm not trying to say that this is the only strategy that will work. I'm just saying that it might help you feel better about selling things and taking more risks and taking profit, which is something that I did not do, unfortunately. But next time things pick up again, I will be doing that. And partly I feel more comfortable about it because I am planning ahead and I will be picking up duplicates so that I don't need to feel so nervous about selling some of them. So that's the first reason that I advocate for getting duplicates, is so that you can feel comfortable making trades, making moves, taking profit, trying to take some more risks, and not have to worry about completely losing the collectible. Because I would be sick to my stomach if I sold Todd or if I sold a partner statue and I was never able to get it back because it just climbed 5-10 more thousand. I was already lucky enough to get them in the first place, so I don't want to be gambling with collectibles that I don't think I've even scratched the surface of their value, especially years and years down the line. And I try to not speculate or bank on this too much, but there is the potential for renting in the future. And if I'm holding a blue chip, and over time, if I rent it out on a daily, weekly, monthly, whatever basis, I could potentially make my investment back just by renting it and never have to give it up. And that is part of the reason that I'm so stingy with my blue chips, is because I have a vision for where I think they're going to go eventually. What might happen, like I mentioned, just renting or more utility, or just having it as a flex piece because the entire world is going digital. If a lot of our lives are in whatever the metaverse might be, that could be an incredibly exclusive piece to have, and that could become part of your identity if it becomes popular enough, having the first appearance of Mickey Mouse, the first appearance of Batman, first appearance of Spider-Man. I don't have Spider-Man. I'm still sad about it. The second reason that I want to touch on is that duplicates provide great utility, especially in bull runs. So that was also something I didn't have during the last bull run, was I didn't have the liquidity to go out and get deals or try to flip more things, because I was, like I keep saying, I was way too nervous to sell. But this time around, I'm stacking up duplicates of cheap comics that I use Comics and Crypto's ranking for. And since I'm picking those up for about 15 gems each, it's easier for those to 2x, 3x, 5x, as opposed to something like Todd. I'm not saying I don't think Todd can, I'm just saying it's a lot easier for those comics to do that. So if I have 10 of those and they all 5x, I can sell 9 of them, still at least have one just to have in my collection, but then I 5x those 9 comics, and now I have a ton of liquidity to put into something else that I really want. And I don't even think that a 5x is that unrealistic at all. I think it's actually quite realistic, because if they just get back to the price they were before, that'd be like a 10x. I know it obviously depends on what collectible you're talking about, but for the most part, a lot of these have come down like 80-90%. So if they just get back up to where they were, that's already a huge return on investment if you're buying it now. Since I've been so focused on singles, it's been really hard for me to scale up my collection without injecting new cash into the app, which at about a year and a half of doing that now, it's really adding up, and it's not something that I can do very consistently. I've had to pull back a lot. So if you want to continue to grow your collection without needing to always put in tons of money, hundreds of dollars for these grails, if not thousands, then this is a great way to set yourself up for when prices do pick up again. You'll be in a good position to make moves, flip, and get what it is that you actually really want for the long term. And the third and final reason is that honestly, I think that if you focus on blue chips and you get duplicates of those, I really think that that's just the best overall collecting and investment strategy, because something that really changed my whole perspective was a while ago when I interviewed Chad from NFT Pirates. He shared his experience of collecting Pokemon cards when he was a kid, and he was saying that, you know, he wanted one of everything, similar to how I was at the start of VeVe. And he was saying that if he just would have focused on what he knew were the best of the best, he would be a millionaire right now. But since he spread himself out across all kinds of cards, then, you know, the vast majority of those cards are basically worthless now. So I see the same thing happening on VeVe, and this becomes more and more clear as more and more time goes on, that when we have multiple drops a week and we see multiple renditions of characters, only the first appearance, only the first edition, only the extremely significant collectibles will be the ones that stand the test of time and are the cream of the crop of what's valuable. Just any old Spider-Man collectible or Captain America collectible that you see at Target is not valuable just because it's a popular character. And that's because there are millions of other types of action figures or collectibles of those characters. It's the really old original comics, it's the first edition collectibles. So it's going to be the same for VeVe. We already have millions of editions of collectibles and comics on the app, and it's only been a couple years. So think about 10 years from now, we'll have tens of millions of editions of collectibles and comics. And so it's going to be extremely hard for those that aren't the best of the best to retain their value. So putting the MCP aside, and if we just forget the potential benefits of holding sets and all that stuff, if we just look at it in a vacuum of value, I think it's probably in your best interest to stack up on what you know will be valuable, like first appearance Disney, first appearance Marvel, and just continue to stack those up. And a strategy that I've been deploying when it comes to deciding if I want to go for drops or if I want to pick up certain collectibles in the market is I think, okay, if I put this money toward a Disney golden moment, would that be a better investment for me? Instead of thinking about, okay, this collectible costs 50, okay, that's not that much. I'm thinking, where can that money go instead? And so that's been a shift in my whole philosophy. And I think it's really going to pay off for me when we see the true value of these show themselves over time. Think about it this way. The odds of a Disney golden moment 10xing going into the thousands, you know, sometime in the future is a lot better chance than like a second edition Coke collectible going to thousands. So I think it's important that we take advantage of being this early in the app, and while there are still really good first appearances that are still attainable for us, but being able to collect those cheap sets, there will always be options for cheap collectibles. So I'll leave you guys with some ideas as to what you could potentially look for to stack, and this is just my opinion. You know, I could of course be wrong. This is what I think will do best long term, or at least has the best chance to do well long term. I already mentioned a few of these, but things like Disney golden moments, first appearance of significant characters, especially Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, that sort of thing. I think the Disney lenticular cards are really undervalued, and I think those will do well because they're the first of those Disney characters on the blockchain. I actually just did a video on that if you want to check that one out. The top 5, 10, or 15 comics on Comics and Crypto's comics rankings. And I also think that the Marvel Mighties are great for their value because almost all of them are the first appearance of those characters. And since they have pretty high editions, and since they're not the premium digital statue, I think they're also undervalued when you just consider that they're their first appearance. So those are just a few of the main things I think will serve you the best if you stack them, but there are really opportunities all over this app, and as things continue to drop, be on the lookout for some deals and some steals and some stacking opportunities. Let me know what you're stacking. Let me know if you have a different strategy, if you're going all in on the sets and the Master Collector program. And also, don't forget to like the video if you liked it, dislike if you disliked it, comment if you got something to say, and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. As always, my name is NFT Flenny, and I will catch you guys next time.